Hey guys, I was on Twitter before and I saw a post from Pearlescent Moon about why she didn't want to show her face on camera anymore. And it was all about being bullied and things like that. And it just got me thinking it might be good to produce a little video chatting about bullying. Some of the things that Pearlescent Moon has experienced is really awful. People criticising the way she looks and things like that. And it just got me thinking about bullying and my own high school experiences and how much I've learned as an adult now about it, and how much I wish kind of like I knew when I was younger. There's lots of things about bullying that I wish I understood when I was a kid, but didn't know, and so it shaped my whole like worldview. So I thought I'd do a video chatting about what I've learned as an adult and how I understand bullying in my own life. Looking back, I didn't really experience much bullying in primary school. Primary school was not so bad for me, but when I got into high school, I found it very, very difficult. Generally speaking, it was quite overwhelming. The school was much bigger. It was much more complicated. The lessons were different. I had different teachers all the time, and especially for an autistic person, that's incredibly overwhelming. I don't want to focus too much on me being autistic in this video, because really bullying affects lots of people regardless of how your mind works. So I'm only going to briefly mention that specific thing. But I really hated high school. I never felt like I fit in. To be honest, it was pretty torturous for me, really. I was continuously, for most of high school, except maybe like the last year, had people punch me, hit me, take my dinner from me. So for a long period of time, there was one kid in my year who used to come and find me and one of my friends and take our some of our lunch off us because he didn't have any food, and hit us and punch us. And I was a little bit of a punch bag in my school, so I got hit and punched like a lot, so much so that I did. After a while, I was just I was just constantly in a state of like hypervigilance, looking out for when someone was going to hit me or do something, and I really hated it. I never ever felt safe in high school at all. It was 5 years of complete misery, and it shaped the way I thought about myself, really, and the way I thought myself, where I fit in with the world. So it was 5 years of misery, to be honest with you. Just a couple of examples that kind of like help illustrate the point. I remember there's two memories that always stand out to me that kind of show my mindset at the time. One memory is it was my birthday one year in school. I really hated maths because I suspect they've got this calculator. I can't actually process numbers very well at all, and I really just did not like it. And another thing I hated about school was getting punched. I used to like count down the days, and kind of literally in my head would monitor days, like how many days have I survived without getting punched by someone. And I used to monitor that almost every day, like, I got through the day without getting punched. And I remember when I have one really distinct memory of when I was coming out of school one day, and it'd been my birthday. And I'd prayed at the start of my day, and I said, please God, can you make my maths teacher be off sick? Because I didn't like maths. And can you let me get through the whole day without getting punched? And I remember walking out of the school grounds and realising that I'd got through the day, I hadn't been punched, and my maths teacher didn't show up. So that's one memory that kind of illustrates my mindset at the time. There's actually three memories. There's another one, so I'll tell you two more. Another memory is we went on a geography school trip. Obviously, the tutors had noticed like something wasn't right, and they were obviously concerned. And I was friends with this other kid, Peter, and he was picked on a lot as well. We were sharing a room together, and in the evening, the teachers came to our room, two of the teachers, and obviously they were concerned about us, and they had a kind of a talk with us, they said, basically, we just want you to know that, I know high school is difficult, but life won't always be like this. You won't always be getting picked on all the time, so when you leave high school, things will get better. Now, that's pretty sad, but what's even sadder for me is I didn't even understand that I was getting picked on. I didn't even understand that that was bullying. And I remember the moment where we sat there in the it was like a hotel room that they come to see us in, and I was showing them like this book I got, and they started to talk. But I remember a moment where they were looking at me, and I didn't even understand why they were looking at me because I didn't even understand like why they thought I was getting picked on. But obviously to them, like they'd seen enough to feel the need to come and talk to me. But it shows my mindset at the time. Like I just thought that was where I fit in the world. I just thought, oh, you're at the bottom, you get picked on. This is just the life that you've been dealt, and this is just because it's who you are. I'd almost like adopted it as an identity, being pretty much the bottom. I thought everybody was better than me, and that was just normal. So that was one other memory. And there's another memory I have where in the same class, actually, there was a kid who was really misbehaved. I say kid, we're like 15 years old at this point. He was really misbehaved, really disruptive, and he would constantly kick the back of my chair all the time. And then so everyone would laugh at me in the class, like really kick it hard, so my whole body would jerk forward. And I was really like vulnerable. I didn't have the social tools to stand my ground, to do anything. And what happened is I got to a place where every single week, it was on a Thursday. I still remember it now, what day the class was on. It was on a Thursday. And it was geography. And I remember every week the sickening dread of having to go to that class, because I knew when I went to that class I was going to be humiliated. And I would count down the weeks. And I remember walking out of that class, surviving another class, thinking, oh, the sense of relief that I wouldn't have to be in that room for another week. And this went on for weeks. And the teacher told him off, but he just carried on doing it. And everyone would laugh at me and mock me in the class. And no one did anything. And even the teacher didn't really do that much. They just she almost just let it happen. And it was tormenting me every day, having to go to the lesson and have someone kick my chair. It was, now I look back at that as an adult, I just think it's all so sickening to me and so sad, because I was very intelligent, and well, I still am quite intelligent, but I was very bright. I was in a lot of the top sets, but my education was so stunted from being picked on and from having anxiety and depression and things like that. And I used to go home from school, and I was so used to being depressed that I used to try and sometimes, if there was ever any windows where I didn't feel depressed, I used to try and make myself feel depressed, because that's all I was used to. It was so familiar that I used to almost like force myself, like, because I just didn't know, like, I didn't know what feeling normal felt like, and it felt alien to me, so I would try and almost make myself depressed. And I used to also just live in my own imagination all the time. So I used to go home from school sometimes, go into my room, lie on my bed and just imagine a different life, and just lie there imagining for like 2 hours. I remember doing that quite a lot. And it's really hard to, because obviously, like, you look at this and you think, oh, why didn't you tell the teacher? Why didn't you tell someone? It's like, I didn't tell anyone because I didn't even understand. Like, I didn't even understand it was bullying. I didn't even understand that what they were doing was wrong. I had this, like, deep-held belief that this is just me. My role in this world is to be this person, so I can't do anything about it, because I'd almost made it my identity. So, when I left school and went to college, I was like, I couldn't even, like, I was so used to being that person, I couldn't even make friends with people. And I remember at the first lesson, I was like 16 or 17. I went into this class, and this is, I feel so sorry for this girl. You'll kind of understand why I did it, but she said to me, she was really bubbly and lively and almost a bit, not at all the person I would have expected to be friends with at the time, and she said, hello, what's your name? And I told her to shut up, because I thought she was making fun of me, because I was so used to people making fun of me that I didn't even know that she was genuinely trying to be friends with me. I feel dead bad about that now as an adult. I even tried to find her on Facebook as an adult to see if I could make amends. But anyway, She was just horrified, and didn't speak to me then for the rest of the course. But it just shows my mindset. Like, I didn't even understand that someone would want to be friends with me, because that's just the way I thought I fit into the world. So anyway, I'm sharing some of that with you so perhaps, you know, I don't know, make you feel like you're less alone if it's happening to you, and also to say kind of like when you get picked on and you're younger and you don't really have the experience to understand what it's about, it's very easy to start thinking that's who you are and that's where you belong. It's very easy to start thinking, oh, the reason why I'm getting picked on is because this is who I am. And so first thing I want to say is that's not true. That's not who you are. The person who gets picked on is not who you are, and that isn't an identity. It's a consequence of being picked on. It's like a symptom of being picked on. If you want to call it, like, if you want to use medical kind of language, it's a symptom. So that's the first thing I kind of wanted to say. The second thing is, those teachers are kind of right. It actually does get better after when you leave high school. Or it did for me, because you can start again and play a different role. One thing I want to say as well is people who bully people, and I know this is a bit of a cliche, and to be honest, it gets said so much, it's almost like unhelpful, because it doesn't really resolve the problem, but it's not actually about you. That's how the way they treat you is how they feel about themselves. And it's very easy to start thinking it's about you, like it's your fault, you're the problem, but it's not about you, it's actually about them. Now, of course, it's easy for me to say that, but it's very difficult to start believing it if it keeps happening all the time. So it's good. It can be one of many ways to help you with this, is to remind yourself that they probably feel rubbish about themselves because of the way they've been treated, and so they're lashing out, maybe to feel a sense of control or to feel powerful, because in other situations they felt weak. So I didn't want to. I was trying to avoid kind of like cliches and say, oh, if you're getting bullied, go and speak to the teacher, because you guys already know that. Like, you've probably been told loads of times, go and speak to an adult. But what I want to kind of talk about in this video is how you feel about you because of it. Like, because it's okay saying, oh, here's the procedure if you're getting bullied, but what do you do about how you feel about yourself? So the thing is about all this is, like I say, being bullied can quickly become like your identity. Like, you start believing all that about yourself, and like me, you thought that's just where you fit in the world, and it can take a long time to undo that. But it can be undone, and you can develop into the person who you really are, rather than the person who the bullies were making you out to be. So it's not impossible to deal with that. It just takes a bit of time and processing it and healing from it. And you know, who you are in school isn't who you are when you leave school. And even if people treating you a certain way, you're not that person when you're an adult. It doesn't last, and you get to be somebody different. But I suppose what I'm saying is if you are getting picked on, you know, obviously go and talk to someone, but also remember that doesn't define who you are. It's good to learn how that's affected you, how it's affected your emotions, how it's affected the way you see yourself and who you are and what you're able to achieve. And if you learn how it's impacted you, then you can kind of do something about it and begin to move through that and begin to work on changing those beliefs so that it doesn't hold you back. In the way that it potentially could do, like it did for me. It held bullying as well. It's been partially to blame for holding me back in my life. Like, struggling to know who I was, thinking that I was someone that I'm not. You know, struggling later on for a number of reasons, but you know, because of depression and anxiety. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I just didn't want anyone to feel alone in it, and to just point out that this is a thing that, you know, lots of people go through, because bullying, like, it starts to isolate you, and that's one of the problems. It makes you think you're the only one. You can feel ashamed and embarrassed, like there's something wrong with you. And the reality is, like, there are lots of people around who have been bullied too, and you're not on your own, and it's not your fault. And that's just something I just wanted to communicate as well. Like, you know, I was bullied. I've worked through a lot of it in therapy, and I've come out the other side, and I'm educated. And I've been able to move forward in my life from it. So it's not something that's permanent. The identity that you almost learn from being bullied isn't permanent, and you can move through it. And the reason why I'm able to speak like this to you now is because I've done a lot of work on myself. Like, I can say, here is what happened, here is how it's impacting me. And, you know, not only that, maybe it's even helping other people. So it's a bad thing in my life that I've learned from and healed from, maybe actually now be doing something positive. So even though it's pretty awful, it might actually be a tool now for me. The knowledge that I've gained from it, to help other people. So, you know, as awful as these things are, if you learn from it and learn and understand it, if you learn from it and understand it, you can actually then use it for something positive in the world. And because of, you know, me working out who I am and where I fit in the world, and, you know, how things have impacted me, because of those things, I'm able to make YouTube videos like this, you know, and then maybe that'll just encourage some other people. So guys, there's some reflections on bullying, some of my experience, and hopefully that may have helped you in some way, or helped you understand where you're feeling. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great week, and I will catch you on the live streams if my internet ever sorts itself out. Bye bye.